now. Here we go now.
Touchdown, Cooper. That was DeMarcus Lawrence.
They can't stop us. Keep hitting him in the mouth. Keep hitting him in the mouth. They can't stop us.
Keeps his feet to the 10. Touchdown, Elliott. Gallup leaping. Touchdown.
Dallas Cowboys Game Night is presented by AT&T. GEICO. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full access to coaches' film and game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl. Subscribe at DallasCowboys.com/Game Pass.
The first game of the 2020 Dallas Cowboys season and the first game of the Mike McCarthy era results in a 20-17 loss as they fall to the Los Angeles Rams on the road at beautiful SoFi Stadium. A quick look at the team stats on both sides of the football as the Cowboys really dominated on third down. And because of the domination on third down, they were dominated at both the offensive and defensive line and in time of possession. Welcome in the Cowboys Game Night. I'm Kyle Yeomans alongside a trio of Dallas Cowboys, Barry Church, Nate Newton, and Isaiah Stanback. As guys, it wasn't necessarily what we expected out of the Dallas Cowboys this week, as you really had those high expectations, but especially for the offense, Barry, it looked like the offensive line just struggled to get off the ground.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be completely honest here, fellas. This was not the offensive performance that I was looking forward to seeing this week one. We know they're explosive on all the skills positions that they have out there, but for me, the main struggle here was the offensive line, the interior part of the offensive line to be exact. Aaron Donald, Michael Brockers, they had their way with those guys throughout the whole game. They made Dak Prescott run for his life basically every snap he had out there, and that caused us to look bad in the passing game. So I know this is just week one, and it's no time to panic. I mean, there's a lot of season left, but they have to find a way to get that interior line playing better if they want to have a successful season.
The key word is consistency, my friend. If they can find some consistency within their passing game and their run game and continue to do that. Zeke had a nice day running the ball and catching it out of the backfield. But as the game went on, our receivers didn't have time to get into the deeper routes, which they needed to do. And Aaron Donald and Brockers kind of controlled the situation.
Yeah, these guys are being nice. Aaron Donald and Brockers disrespected our offensive line. I mean, they totally just embarrassed them. I mean, for the amount of time that we've invested into this offensive line, the amount of money that they've invested, this organization has invested into this offensive line, there's no way that those two men should have disrupted our offense the way they did today. They did a good job, progressing and pushing the guys off the ball in terms of the rushing with Zeke. He did a great job there. But in terms of protection, it wasn't where it needed to be. And you guys saw that we were at 3 for 12 on third down. That is not going to get it done. I don't care what team you are. The fact that they were in this game within 3 points, right, and going 3 for 12 lets you know that these guys should have won this ball game, but they got to do better.
They got to do better. And we're missing Lyle Collins out there. He'll be back in the next couple of weeks, but it really wasn't that edge that was being said. It was the interior line that was giving it up. And Nate, you know all about that. I mean, being an offensive lineman.
Well, the guard's main job, fellas, is to make sure the pocket stays deep so these tackles can dance and run these outside guys around. But like I said, when you got the best player in the NFL and Aaron Donald doing what he did today, and Brockers, he fell in there and got him some of it. Connor Williams kind of struggled. We'll get into that a little bit later on. But the word, again, fellas, is consistency. Can our offensive line find consistency? And fortunate for us, it's the first game. We got 15 more tries to try to put this thing together with Coach Philbin.
It was absolutely a lunch pail sort of game for Dak Prescott as he had to work for the 266 passing yards that he ultimately ended up having. He had 25 of 39 passing and spread around the football a little bit, but it still wasn't the best offensive performance of the season. When we come back, we'll take a look on the defensive side of the football as more Cowboys Game Night returns.
This segment is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. The Dallas Cowboys scratch ticket from the Texas Lottery is your ticket for a chance to win up to $100,000. Get your Dallas Cowboys scratch ticket today. Must be 18 or older to purchase a ticket. Play responsibly.
Dallas Cowboys fall in week 1 to the Los Angeles Rams, 20-17 the final scores. We're back here with more Cowboys game night. And guys, the defensive side of the football saw a huge key piece missing for the majority of the game. As in the first quarter, Leighton Vander Esch went down with what is now a fractured clavicle, and he is out for an extended period of time. This was a missing piece that was not a part of that defense last year, and really was going to be really the centerpiece of what was a new look Mike Nolan defense, Isaiah.
Yeah, Vander Esch was obviously supposed to be the big dog that's holding it down in the middle here for the Cowboys this year. I think they were really planning on him being there, right? Mm-hmm. They were expecting him. They relied a lot on him being the foundation of that, getting everybody lined up, and really being the first point of contact if people made it past that front line. And obviously he's going to be missing, so that's huge. But one area that I'm really concerned about was our interior defensive line play. I felt like those guys just weren't present today. I felt like they were non-existent by any means. I think we were very surprised. Most people were very surprised, not myself, but Alden Smith showed up and showed out today. He showed up in a big way. He came in heavier than we've seen him in the past, and I think that really affected everybody in a positive way on that side. And then Mike Nolan. I don't think that we saw the pressure that anybody expected him to come with, he has to be able to apply more pressure and be able to force some turnovers.
He definitely has to be able to apply more pressure. And once again, the same thing that happened with the offensive line. It's in the trenches for me. This defensive line it was a vaunted defensive line. I thought they were going to come in and roll this Rams team who struggled on the offensive line last year, but they just weren't able to do that. This Ram offensive line was basically able to impose their will on this defense. I mean, there was times where Malcolm Brown, Cam Akers, they wouldn't get touched until they were 5 or 6 yards down the line of scrimmage, and you just cannot do that with if you want to have a successful defense, because it starts with the run with the Rams. If they're able to pile up yards on the run, that's when Goff's able to get into his play action game, and that's when he becomes one of the better quarterbacks in the league when it comes to play action. So we have to find a way to shore up that interior line, just like on the offensive side of the ball. And another thing that stuck out to me was this young secondary. They are young, but they were scrappy out there. Diggs, he fought hard out there. And he gave up a couple of completions, but you saw the tenacity in what he has that going after the ball, and the Cowboys are going to need that to continue throughout the season.
They had one big play with a Woozier, the interception, but you know what? You can't give up 35-plus minutes. You got to get off the field. Yeah, it was 9 for 7 trying to get off the field. And like you say, Alden was that big-time player, but other than that, man, the Ontario Poe did not give us what we need. And losing Leighton Vander Esch, bam, bam, that's a big hit. Joe Thomas got to come. Francis Bernard, young guy, got to depend on him now to come.
It really did seem like the defense missed Leighton Vander Esch. One of the big reasons why they missed him was because Sean McVay found an opportunity and found a way to kind of nickel and dime down the field. It was really quick passes within 7 yards and find a way to get the ball into the playmaker's hands, and then they would run it up the middle with a guy like Malcolm Brown, who's a power back, and then throw up a change-up with Cam Akers in there as well. So it's a little bit different of a look from Sean McVay than we've seen out of that offense in the past, and that's something that I know we discussed going into the game because of the new look from Sean McVay. When we come back, we'll hear from the new head coach for the Dallas Cowboys as Mike McCarthy joins us and talks about the final score, 20-17. Cowboys fall in week 1.
This segment was brought to you by the Texas Lottery. The Dallas Cowboys scratch ticket from the Texas Lottery is your ticket for a chance to win up to $100,000. Get your Dallas Cowboys scratch ticket today. Must be 18 or older to purchase a ticket. Play responsibly. This segment is brought to you by GEICO. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Mike McCarthy 0-1 as the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. 20-17 the final score out in Los Angeles. Here's Mike McCarthy after the game.
Good to go? Good to start? Okay, I'll start first by saying that, it's tough to see the guys, particularly some of your key guys get hurt to start the season that way. But, we'll obviously rebound from that. I mean, it's a tough loss, to say the least. Clearly not the way we wanted to start, but a lot of good things happen out there tonight, things we can definitely build on, and definitely things we can correct. as I view the game, I look at the special teams. You know, starting there, I thought we did a number of nice things there. The kickoff return gave us some good field position with the, you know, I'm thinking about the 2 returns. So, you know, I didn't have, you know, had one missed field goal opportunity, but the big punt there at the end. So I thought we did some really good, had some really good things. We got some really good things done on special teams. Defense, you know, I think really the story for the offense and defense we'll focus on and you know, take a close look at is the third down production. You know, we were not productive enough on the third downs. I thought offense generated a lot of first downs. You know, I thought the ball distribution was, as far as the targets and everything, we're, you know, close to where we needed to get to. But, you know, the third down and point production wasn't what we were looking for offensively. I thought we started a little sluggish at the beginning of the game defensively. You know, with a couple of the pre-snap penalties. You know, we knew coming in here they'd do an excellent job, a lot of experience of playing, you know, cadence football and particularly situational cadence football. So we definitely need to improve from that. We had the 4th and 2 down there in the red zone. Felt you know, the movement that we were going through with on offense was a good solid call, but you know, we didn't execute. So tough loss. Not the way we wanted to start, but you know, that the guys battled. First time in live action. You know, there's a lot of little things, coordination on sideline, communication that we'll improve on. But you know, I think the reality is we got off to a solid start in those areas, and we can build off of that. With that, I'll take your questions.
Mike, can you begin with walking us through your thought process on that 4th and 3 down there, and detail a little bit more on the play, what the call was and what happened there when it came up short?
Well, I mean, you know, I think the you know, the flow. It's, you know, there's obviously things that go into those types of situations. You're always looking at, particularly you know, coming off of a second down, you go into a third down. Based on your field position, you know, obviously we're clearly in field goal range, and it was a 3-point game. So you know, all those things are factored. The conservative play there is to you know, is to kick the field goal. But I just felt really good about how we were moving the football, and you know, it was a you know, a mesh pattern type concept, and you know, with you know, crisscrossers, and you know, you got to give them credit. They made a hell of a safety, made a hell of a play on the throw and catch, and we were short.
One positive for the Cowboys and for Mike McCarthy in his first game was that he got the rock to Ezekiel Elliott, and Zeke ended up with 127 yards. We hear from Ezekiel Elliott on how the team can improve after the 20-17 loss when we come back here on Cowboys Game Night.
This segment was brought to you by GEICO. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Ezekiel Elliott looked like he was in mid-season form with 127 all-purpose yards. Here's what the all-purpose back had to say after the loss.
Zeke, how hard is this to take, considering how close you guys were, and obviously a late penalty here on Gallup?
You know, that's definitely a little heartbreaking. You know, just kind of seeing us make that explosive play to go down there and put us in position to score either a field goal or a touchdown to tie or take the lead. I mean, that's tough, but I mean, that's part of the game, and you know, all we can do is get back in the lab and get better. Hello?
Think of the offense overall tonight, and I'm sure you guys got a lot of weapons. Just your thoughts on scoring 17 points.
I mean, we got to be better as an offensive unit on third down, you know, kind of converting those third downs and keeping the ball moving, and when we get in the red zone scoring touchdowns. I mean, it's got to be mandatory that when we get to the red zone, we score touchdowns.
What was your disappointment to see Blake Jarwin exit with the knee injury there in the second quarter?
You know, it's really sad. You know, you see a guy, you know, work so hard all camp, and you see him how hard he worked in the offseason, and to see the first game, you know, he gets injured. My heart goes out to him. We're going to be praying for him, and we're just going to surround him and support him.
Speaking of 4th and 4-3 call from Mike. Obviously, he's got a lot of confidence in you guys to convert that. What's your thoughts on that play there?
You know, Coach has a plan, and it's our job to go out there and follow it. You know, I think it was a good play call. I think we had a chance of getting the first down, and you know, I think we were rolling the offense, and he kind of just felt it and wanted to try to keep us on the field and score a touchdown instead of getting 3 right there. You know, we ended up coming up short, and that's just one of those plays of the games where, you know, you got to convert. You gotta convert on that. I mean, that cost us the game.
You thought one of your guys would take the lead, and obviously Untitled took it. Just your thoughts on what you guys talked about and obviously what you executed before the start of the game.
I mean, we just let everyone know in the locker room that whatever they decide to do, they're going to be supported from the top to the bottom. And, you know, we stand with our brother Poe, and we're going to continue to support him.
You consider everything that you all had to go through to try to get ready for this season. How do you think you played in the context of that?
I think there were some bright spots today on our team. Obviously, it was a close game, but we just got to be better on third down. We got to convert third downs and score in the red zone.
While the run game was a positive for the Cowboys in the 20-17 loss to the Rams, the run defense was a pretty big negative. Is that spot in the interior defensive line one of the biggest problems on that defensive side of the football? We'll hear when we come back as we return and give our key takeaways and wrap things up here on Cowboys Game Night on Week 1 of the 2020 season.
Dallas Cowboys Game Night was presented by AT&T, Reliant, an NRG company, and by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full access to coaches' film and game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl. Subscribe at DallasCowboys.com/Game Pass.
The Dallas Cowboys have the tough task of putting this one in the rearview mirror. 20-17, the final score as they fall to the Los Angeles Rams in Week 1 of the 2020 season. They'll look to rebound next week against the Atlanta Falcons, but as we're rejoined by Barry Church, Nate Newton and Isaiah Stanback. Guys, what were your key takeaways from this Week 1 loss?
Yeah, my key takeaway for this Week 1 loss is, you know, the defense has to become more disciplined. I feel as if, you know, the Rams were able to establish a run game, and by establishing a run game, they were able to really start to get the play action. You saw the misdirection really start getting us off our key early in the game. And once that happened, the defense started getting tired. They started getting, you know, they weren't as disciplined as they were before, and the misdirection really killed them. A lot of plays came out the backside that really shouldn't have happened. So they really got to shore that up, and hopefully they figure out this interior defensive line situation.
Our offensive line has to be more consistent. Run versus pass. Make sure they handle their business on the interior. I think they could have played a lot better. The two guards and centers mostly. I think our young tackle at the right still did a good job. As the all-pro over there to your left tackle, Tyron played well. But other than that right there, that word consistent is the key to the success of the Dallas Cowboys.
For me, my key to the game, well, my key takeaway from this game is, once again, it's in the trenches. I mean, this offensive line for the Rams, who was terrible last year, were consistently able to impose their will on our defensive line. I mean, there was times, maybe 6 or 7 times tonight, where Malcolm Brown or Cam Akers, they weren't getting touched until they were 5 or 6 yards down the line of scrimmage. And I promise you that will not work if you want to have a successful defense. Now, like I said earlier, it's not the end of the world. We still got a lot of time left, but these guys have to be able to shore up that defensive line. I mean, you have Dontari Poe in there, and we know we brought him in from free agency, but he just did not perform well today. Now, we have Alden Smith on the edge, and we have DeMarcus Lawrence, so we know what they're about. But this interior defensive line, they have to be able to step it up for this defense to be successful.
Well, and Barry, you made a great point about shoring up specific parts of that defensive side of the football, but there's questions on both sides when you talk about the injury to Leighton Vander Esch on the defensive side, and then also the injury to Blake Jarwin as well. Isaiah, what are some of the biggest keys to really look at this weekend before heading into Week 2?
Well, they have to figure out what their identity is. They're obviously they're missing some guys, some key elements now, especially with Van Der Esch gone. We saw a lot of stand-up defensive ends today with 2 linebacker sets. These guys are now going to figure out who's got to step up, right? You got Joe Thomas that came in there today, but now they're probably got to reach down into their practice squad and pull somebody up, right? But you have a tough team coming in. You have with this run game that they have, and they got this dude named Matt Ryan that can throw the thing around, so they better figure it out quickly.
I tell you what, it'll be a better game plan. Coach McCarthy promises that the Ontario Pole has to play better, and he has to be a leader.
He will. He'll definitely play better, in my opinion. This defensive line, they will show up. I still have faith in this defense, but they're going to have to play better if they want to be the defense that we all know they can be. We know they can be productive on this defensive line and this front seven. We just need them to be able to play that way.
Got to play that way. The defensive side of the football is going to see a ton of question marks answered over the next 7 days as they get ready for that noon kickoff Central Time against the Atlanta Falcons. But really, you look at Leighton Van Der Esch, he's going to be a key piece. Missing Blake Jarwin on the tight end side. It was his season to be tight end 1, and it's unfortunate that he looks like he will be out for an extended period of time as well. 20-17, the final score as the Dallas Cowboys fall to 0-1 on the 2020 campaign in the Mike McCarthy era. For Barry Church, for Nate Newton, and Isaiah Stanback, I'm Kyle Yeomans. We'll see you next week here on Cowboys Game Night.